Now the gun is ready for a resin pressure check. Okay, next what we're going to do is simulate a resin check of the gun. Okay. Once the gun is in this position, you mount the hoses to the gun. Okay. You pressurize the unit, and what we're going to do is put this into the service position. Open our manual valve on the resin port. And what I want to do is allow material to come into the gun block and see if I'm leaking into this area here. All right. What this will tell me if my seal for my valving rod is leaking or the throat inside the gun block is leaking. If I see any kind of weepage of material here, I know I'm not getting a proper seal. And if I put my ISO components on, I would get a crossover in this gun. So I want to verify that this is not leaking. And probably about maybe 1500 psi would be enough pressure to do a resin pressure check. Now what I would do, once I pretty much eliminated that I'm having any kind of leakage through this area here, again checking to make sure it's in the service position, what I want to do is trigger my gun. So I want to trigger the gun in the service position, and again check for any kind of leakage there with my valving rod drawn back. However, it's not clearing the orifice dispensing material. Now I want to install my ISO side components to the gun. I put my pattern control tip on. Just hand tight, trigger the gun. What I want to do is make sure that the valving rod is coming all the way forward. Okay? Right now it's not tight enough to seal. So I want to trigger this several times while tightening my front packing down. Trigger it again. Make sure my valving rod is coming forward. Do it one more time to assure that I'm getting a good seal. And tighten it all the way. Trigger it to make sure my valving rod is coming forward. If my valving rod is not coming up forward enough, what I want to do is repeat that several times, because I want to make sure before I open up the A side that this valving rod is coming at least 30 seconds out from the front of my pattern control tip. Okay? Once that I assured that is, I want to pressure check my ISO side, open up my ISO side, and check these areas for leakage. I'm checking my packing area around my valving rod, and also my packing area around the pattern control tip, as well as the pattern control tip around my gun block area. If I'm assured that I'm not leaking any kind of material through my rear and the front of the gun, I'm ready for the gun to go into service.